Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, dude, appreciate you inviting me, man.
I was first introduced to you from hearing about the homunculus. How'd you kind of get into all that? Was it like stumbling into alchemy? What was kind of like the intro?
So the intro was through Manly P. Hall, believe it or not. Manly P. Hall did write about it, and I thought it was honestly, I thought it was a joke because the way that the first story that I came across kind of painted it, it didn't really make sense to me. And this was after looking into alchemy and not really understanding it. Not that I understand it any better now,
Yeah,
but alchemy is this topic to where on the surface, yeah, it's about turning lead into gold, but then you have all these other intricacies within that, and the homunculus being one of them. Now, mind you, since I didn't understand everything else, I was like, what the hell is this? And the first story I ever came across is the Johann von Kufstein, which is the guy who holds the world record for having the largest homunculus in history, right? So you can like literally look it up, world record for largest homunculus, and he'll come up. And he was from the 17th century, I believe. And it was this story about him and some monk, some like Rosicrucian monk or something or other. And they created these 10 beings. And when I stumbled across that story for the first time, again, it didn't make any sense to me. So I looked further into it. And it turns out that there's a whole underbelly, a whole history on this phenomenon. And obviously, it's the homunculus. What I love about it is that, and I think what draws people in, it's like this morbid curiosity that everyone has, but also the fact that it does, if it is fake and gay, right? There's always that possibility, which that's a strong possibility,
yeah,
but it borders on the line of like woo woo, but also there's some reality to it, to where we know for a fact. I mean, I believe there are people being cloned. We
yeah,
know animals are being cloned. We know
yeah,
they're making artificial embryos and things of this nature. So again, it teeters between that line, and then the whole process of how to get the homunculus was super interesting to me. And once I really peeled apart that, I was like, oh man. And what set it off for me is seeing the parallels and the correlations between other stories in history and if it comes to gods, goddesses, whatever, other
yeah,
things within history that kind of line up. They might not necessarily be a homunculus, and that's why I call it like homunculus tech, because it kind of falls in line because alchemy has been a part of history since the Egyptian times, which is where, the land of Kemet, right? The land of the black, where that's where it originated from, Hermes Trismegistus, and then you have the Gnostics and everybody from there. So it kind of started there, and even before then, you go and you look at like Taoist history and all these other histories, and you're like, this kind of sounds similar. So I believe that these people were practicing some sort of alchemy, it's sort of technology, and ever since then, I've been kind of researching and trying to flesh apart, no pun intended, what the homunculus is and how even until the 20, it was written about even into the 20th century by Crowley and Parsons and all these other guys. So it's still relevant till this day, man.
yeah. I feel like the more you look into like historical things, the kind of crazier they become.
Well, because here's the thing about being in the whole conspiratorial realm of things. A lot of people say all of history has been faked, all of it, everything is, and if you want to take, I guess, an atheistic point of view or whatever, they go black pill or white pill, I don't know what pills are which,
Yeah, it's hard to
where
keep up. Yeah,
it's hard to keep up, where everything, the occult, religion, spirituality, everything is just make believe, which, hey, I mean, I can think along those lines too if it is all just a troll. Like what if it's all just one big troll? What if all of mythology, all of history, everything was just one big troll? I think about that too, about these people and just how today we can come up with, today people come up with, for example, Superman or Spider-Man or some sort of hero. We came up with that recently in the 40s. That so what if that was the same thing for these ancient peoples? All these gods and goddesses were that version of our Superman or Spider-Man or Batman or whoever you want to say. What if
Yeah.
that was their version? Right? But then what's the difference between our version and theirs? Well, theirs was just a lot longer ago, and that
Yeah.
was their fan stuff. That was their Marvel and DC back then, and ours is just Marvel and DC today. Because I think
Mhm.
about that.
Yeah.
But again, I think that reality is more malleable than some people give it credit to be. And I think that even if these things, even if religion and spirituality are make believe or fake and gay, I think that they're still a reflection of humanity and like human psyche and psychology and all those things put together.
Yeah.
So I think it still should be studied regardless and just looked at from that lens if you're open minded enough. Because some people, this is some people's worldviews. And for some people, this is reality. And you can, any major world religion, Christianity, any Muslim, any whatever religion you're part of, like that's some people's entire worlds, and that's all that. Like, there's people who, dude, there's people who pray what 3, 4, 5 times a day. Like that's what they believe, and that's solidified within. I would say to even go further, it's solidified in their genetics. Right? Have you ever
Yeah.
heard of like the flea experiment?
I don't believe so.
So they say that if you get some fleas and and you put them in a jar
Hmm.
and put the cap on that jar, those fleas, when they learn to jump, they will only jump as high as the top right before hitting the top of that cap. And you can condition them to where when you take the cap off, they will only jump that high. And all of their offspring will only jump that high as well. So take that into perspective of like this genetic memory and inject religion, mythology, all the greatest archetypes of all time. How does that affect people way down the road? And on top of that, when you're conditioning kids, raising them in any religion, they're going to take that worldview and they're going to take it
Yeah.
with them and they're going to pass it on to their kids. So even if it's not genetic, it's still a sort of conditioning that they're going to be going through. And I believe that that's how that works on one level because I covered recently, or not recently, but I did a short one time on T. gondii, and T. gondii is this thing that you get from cats, and it's a sort of parasite. And there's been parasites within biology that hack over their host and make them do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. And T.
Hmm.
gondii is one of those where they say that it can kind of sort of hijack your mind and make you more susceptible to essentially when rodents or rats get infected with this T. gondii that comes from the cats, they are attracted to the cat's urine. So they're attracted to essentially what's their main predator. Okay. And they say that this drives people insane. This is where you get the crazy cat lady sort of thing. And it
Yeah.
also opens people to be more susceptible to like different forms of government. And I got called out because they're like, when I listed out like the symptoms of this T. gondii, right? T. gondii is your Lord and Savior. They were like, oh, you're just naming off the two different things, the left and right. You're just saying it differently, right? And I go, yeah, it's not human nature to want to be ruled by another class of people.
Yeah.
And throughout all of history, we've had what? We've had hierarchies.
Yeah.
We've had kings, queens, uh, presidents, and like we always give these a certain class of people rule. Or I don't think that that's human nature to want to be ruled over by another person. I think
Yeah.
that's indoctrination and that's a sort of mind control, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Paying
to be
taxes
one,
to pedophiles.
yeah, I mean, I don't feel that's human nature. If anything, I
Yeah.
want the government and anyone trying to tell me what to do as far away from me and my family as possible. Like I don't want you to tell I don't want to have to pay taxes. I don't want to have to do any of that shit. Right? I want to just be me and just live, right? And I think that indoctrination, you see it when it comes to a lot of these any major populated city, usually
Yeah.
the population is less educated. Again, and you can see the correlation between red and blue. Usually, larger cities and larger population areas are more blue. And again, I'm not trying to get political, but these are the
Yeah.
statistics.
Yeah.
Or larger concentrations of population that they lean more governmental, right? So the liberal is more government, more control. The conservative is laissez-faire, less government, less control type of thing.
Hmm.
And the same thing goes for if you have a pond with too many fish, right? What happens to the fish? There's going to be a scarcity for food. I don't know if you've ever fished like these farm ponds that are stocked up with like, I don't know where you're from, but like bass or something. And usually the bass, sometimes they got like humps on their back or like they look all weird because there's too many of them in the pond to be able. So think about that like a sort of population. There's too many people in one area and they start to look like the hills have eyes or something. Look
And
at Japan, dude. The coffin apartments. You seen those videos?
I don't think so.
Oh, there's people living in like 2 by 4 foot like coffins essentially. I believe they're called coffin apartments. Japan. Yeah, they're called coffin apartments and tiny capsule apartments, and they're 8 foot long by 4.5 feet, 4 to 5 feet tall. Micro apartments, bro. Yeah,
Show
the
up to
Japanese
sleep.
population is usually, kind of small, Mr. Miyagi type, not
True.
to be stereotypical. My wife's
Yeah.
half Japanese, so I got some Japanese in my lineage now. My
Yeah.
kids are essentially half Japanese now, but
Yeah. I think you do a really good job of just like staying open-minded and kind of keeping things light with some of the research. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's like maybe like how you brought up? Were you brought up under a certain religion or
regime.
denomination?
Yeah, I was actually raised by my grandma, and I like to be as open-minded as possible. One being because I want to cover everything and anything.
Yeah.
And once you go into certain topics that could be ruled blasphemous or heretical, you got to look at it from a certain perspective. But I've always been the type to just do research, present the idea, and let people do what they want with it. My problem with these truthers of nowadays is these cults that they form within this community where it's like we came from that. We don't want to be told what to do, but here you are
Yeah.
attacking others for their beliefs because they don't believe the same way you do or don't, whatever it is, and they get all combative. And it's like I'm not here for that. So I have
Yeah.
zero problems with any topic. My problem is usually the delivery of the people who fall within said topic, and that can be anything, honestly. I'm not here if
Yeah.
people go, oh, homunculus are fake and gay. Hey, dude, probably, right? And I've put hours and hours and hours into the topic. I'm not going to sit here and have you tell me, no, well, this is the truth because I said so and because I did the research. Good for you. Now let others do the same. Don't
Yeah.
force your ideas down people's throats because that's not the way to do it. And again, I like to keep an open mind because when I was raised, I was in a religious household and I was told like, hey, dude, don't read the book of Enoch. You're gonna get possessed. Don't My grandma told me don't read any apocryphal or non-canon works. And my mom at one point, I was like, Mom, why is the Old Testament so different than the New Testament? She's like, actually, just don't even read the Old Testament. I'm like, what? Like, that's canon. Yeah, well, and then I think to myself and I go, oh, that's why there's 45,000 different denominations of because they don't even agree within things in their own circle. So if there's 45,000 different versions of one thing, which essentially being a Christian is accepting Jesus Christ in your life as your Lord and Savior, right? That's the way to salvation. There's no other
Yeah.
way to read that,
Hmm.
right? Through Jesus Christ, accepting him as your Lord and Savior is the way through. How is there 45,000 different interpretations of essentially the one? That's what they should
Yeah.
be teaching, like how to be saved. That this is how you're saved. But yet there's 45,000 different. Last I heard, dude, the church that I was a part of growing up, that I played guitar for 6, 7 years at the more than 5 years. I played guitar for a lot of time. I was part of the whole
Yeah.
congregation. I was part of the whole worship team. Last I heard, and this was a few years ago, mind you, a lot of the people that I worshipped with up on the altar came out of the closet. Okay,
Oh shit.
a
Bacon
majority of them,
gay, dude.
and some of them are still in the closet. I'm gonna just say that some of them are still in the closet.
Okay.
Last I heard, that group of churches started to marry the gays in like New York or something like that, bro. So the
Damn.
church over here had to cut off from them because the ones in New York were doing one thing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how, if the leaders, if the people in charge of guiding us to salvation and keeping us accountable and holding us accountable, what we're supposed to be good Christians every day in the church, if they don't even have it together, how
Yeah.
the hell am I supposed to have it together? And I'm a nobody. You know what I mean? Like, so that's essentially why I left, because I felt like a hypocrite. I'm like, how is you start to see the drama and everything like that, right? And I'm like, you can't be in a state of mind while you're up there leading a congregation. I feel that I'm doing myself a disservice. I'm doing the people that I'm leading in worship a disservice if I'm not pure myself.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather be true to myself and not be a fraud. So that's when essentially I left the church, and then I eventually moved out of my grandma's house. And once I moved out of my grandma's house, I slowly started to listen to podcasts, right? The first major podcast, Rogan. And then, when he starts talking about the Anunnaki, the old Rogan, not this new shit that
Yeah.
he's got going on now,
The
like the old
Zuckerberg
stuff.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, none of that. Start talking about the Anunnaki and all this. I'm like, what? Anunnaki, what is this? And then you go, wait a minute, wait a minute. And when you open your eyes, you go, oh my God, there is the entire inversion of what I believed all of my life. There is a whole inverted version of that same thing in some other religion or some other cult or whatever. And I go, how do I know I got the right verse? How do we know we got the right guy? Like,
Yeah.
realistically speaking. And some people will tell you, like, some people will straight up tell you, no, the Christians didn't copy religions before them. You know, all the stories of the floods and all the stories of creation, they just so happen to line up. Why?
Yeah.
We
It's a good
just know that
question.
they did. They were telling their own version, or whatever excuse. And I'm like, really? Like, how are we ever gonna truly know? And I mean, till this
Yeah.
day, dude, there's questions that will never be answered. How was the universe created? Who was Jesus Christ? Was he a real person? Did he ever exist? I mean, there's people still arguing about that, dude. Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox. What?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Let's just interpret the material for what it is and for what we got. Because truly, if anyone tells you that they read the Bible, they're liars, because they've never read the Bible. They've read a translation of the Bible. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Think their
And
names were Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Like they're all of their
no,
names were different. Yeah.
yeah, and they usually had the same names too. What a coincidence, right? So again, I'm not here to disprove anything or like how these
Yeah.
people weren't real or not. Like I still believe in God. I still believe
Yeah.
in salvation through, again, Jesus Christ, because that's just my guy. But hey, we could be wrong, we could not be wrong, but that's just the way
Yeah.
I was raised. If he was, do I think he was a real person? I think so. I think he was a real person in history. Did he do all the things that he said? I can't tell you for a fact if he did or didn't. And I think that is something that for a long time, right? I think there's questions even within the church that people go to, that they're so indoctrinated and they're so instilled with fear that they're afraid to ask those questions. They're afraid to bring those, because I was one of them. Because hey, if you talk about that, just thinking about that is blasphemous. It's heretical. How dare you question the validity of Jesus Christ or any major? And I go, wait, so I was born and raised, the first book I ever was the book Revelation, because I've always loved the weird shit. Right,
Hmm.
like again, that's why Homunculus is like super weird. I've always loved like the end of times, that whole
Yeah.
thing. We always want to know, how is it going to end? Is it going
Yeah.
to be a nuclear war? Is it going to be some virus or disease or something that's going to wipe us all? Like, what is it? Right? What's coming? And I think Revelation was one of those books where it's like, hey, this is how it's going to end. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. That's wild, man. And then, I was raised to believe that Jesus was coming back and that, once the rapture came, the people who were worthy enough were going to just disappear off the face of the earth. And then those that weren't were going to stay. And it was going to be 7 years of like hell. That's the way I was raised. And then come to find out, there's people who believe he already came, dude.
Yeah. Most people get their minds made up. They don't let it go.
No, no, they don't.
I know you got a little war going on with the flat earthers. How did that get started?
So it's not so much like, again, it's the flat earthers, not the flat earth. The issue is when it's like I can do 20 episodes on flat earth, totally cool. Awesome. I can do 50 episodes on homunculus. Nobody questions that. But as soon as you start to ask questions like, hey, what if
Yeah.
it's not? No, dude. You don't care about the truth with a capital, then you're not a real truth. And they gaslight you with that. And it's like, I'm cool with the uh with the concept. I don't believe it,
Yeah.
right? Until you can explain to me tides, why you can't see the North Star in the southern hemisphere, and a whole bunch of other the 24 hours and like all that other stuff. Once you can explain that, well, we just got the model wrong. Yeah, maybe the whole thing is wrong. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, dude. I think that a lot of people, regardless of whichever topic it is, it can be religion, it can be anything else. I think that some people strive off of and they love. And at this point, I think that they're doing it just to troll because some people are so disconnected from the reality that they're presented, right?
Hmm.
That I think some people will, regardless of what their reality is saying right in front of them, will say the opposite just because they don't like to be told what to do, but therefore they tell other people what to do. So again, my whole issue is
Interesting.
when I'm
Yeah.
presenting a topic like, hey, maybe, hey, dude, maybe global warming is a thing. No, dude, it's not a thing. But they're creating the hurricanes and controlling the snowstorms and blah, blah, blah. And I'm
Yeah.
like, so wait, dude, which is it? Can humans affect the weather or not? Or is it just the Illuminati, right? Shooting hurricanes out of their foreskin. Like what is it?
Yeah.
Which is it? So it's like and then when you go against the grain, then you're like the black sheep. When we were the black sheep to begin with, and that's why we're in this space. So you have all these little cults within the truther circle that will accuse you of being a Fed or accuse you of anything else because you don't echo in their chambers. When you don't echo in their chamber and confirm their bias, then it's a problem because there's a
Well,
weird parasocial relationship that happens with people where they're listening to you every week or every day or whatever, and they feel like they know you and they look up to you, and then when you go against whatever they believe, they're offended, right? Listen, I'm here to present an idea, and some people will flat out throw you out because you said one thing against their thing. And
yeah.
it's like, and here's the other problem where this year I've strived to lean more into like alchemy and other dare I say more research based stuff, even though you can clump conspiracies in there. I want to stay away
Yeah.
from conspiracies because there are actual people in this community who need help mentally.
Yeah.
And I think
Absolutely.
that they feed off of all the stuff that they hear. And then when you're trying to shake them out of that thinking, that's when they get combative. So
Yeah.
I think there's people with legitimate issues within this community who are disconnected from any reality that you will present to them, and they feed off of that. And I don't want to be a part of that problem anymore. You get what I'm saying? All you're hearing is conspiracies all the time. Every little thing that pops off in the media. It's a false flag. It's a psyop. It's a
Yeah.
blah blah. It's a fucking butt plug monster. It's a this. It's a
Yeah.
that. Any little thing, and I'm like, holy shit! How can you live?
Yeah.
Sometimes things are just the way they are, dude. Like that's
Yeah.
how reality is psychedelic as fuck on already on its own. Oh, well, you see his name lines up to the numerology of blah 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 and they just make this whole thing in their head and I'm like, holy I don't want to be a contributing factor to that, even though I already have. But again, if I talk about alchemy, you could say it's the same thing. It's a conspiracy of the time. The occult, bro. Can
Yeah.
you control demonic entities with enchantments and chanting and ceremony? That's a conspiracy. That in and of itself is a conspiracy. Is it possible or is it not? All right, but they don't have any issues with that. So my problem isn't with the flat
Yeah.
earth. My problem is with people within it. And they get
Yeah.
angry when you again talk about the other side. I'm like, I recently put out an episode that saw on YouTube, yeah, with Professor Dave, where we talk again. Professor Dave is another closed-minded guy. You know, he's a professor, he's an atheist, whatever. He's 100% indoctrinated. But I can have a conversation with him and not get butthurt when he calls the homunculus fake and gay, which he did. Oh, dude, I've had people unsubscribe from the Patreon,
For
send
that,
me nasty emails because I did that episode. I'm like, and they're like, oh, well, have Flat Earth Dave on here or any other Flat Earther. I did 3 years ago. Mark Sargent, 4 years ago. You guys weren't saying anything then. But when I present the opposite of the narrative, it's a problem.
should be
It's
able to
like,
ask questions at the
you
very,
should.
like,
Bro, I'm a skeptic
yeah,
more than anything. Like that's why I'm here. And
same.
that's
Yeah.
why I research. Like I want to prove I don't act like I have all like if you tell me, hey dude, you know, the homunculus is fake. No, it's not. And if you don't care about the truth, dude,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be saying that. Truth with a capital T, right? Oh, you're a shill or a fed if you don't believe in homunculus. It's like, how does that make you feel? It's like, what? I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
not. So then again, that's my issue with them. And like I said, I mean, I don't really care if they care that I believe like them or not. The more you push NASA's not in my comments or in my reviews telling me that I'm fake and gay. It's you. Like
Yeah.
you're the one in my comments. You're the one that whenever I do so the more you push flat earth on me, the less I'm gonna believe in it. Cause that to me is fed behavior, bro. Cute,
Yeah.
Judas when he's all up in Jesus' ear, like, bro, back the fuck up. Like, what are you doing? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like he was the sus one. So that makes me question the narrative even further. If I'm seeing whenever you do speak out against it, you're that much more like on my ass about it.
That's exactly how religious people act and kind of judge you based off of your belief systems
The same
that don't
thing,
align.
dude.
Yeah.
It's a cult, bro.
It's
It's
great. The
a
parallels are pretty
not an
great.
occult. It's a cult.
Yeah.
And but again, they got their heads shoved so far up their asses, they're not gonna see it. All right, they're not gonna see the curve. They're not gonna whatever. Who cares? And on top of that, it doesn't matter like what the shape of. While you're arguing about that, there's like actual legitimate problems within society that we have: homelessness, kids without families, world hunger, things that actually matter, right? And they're like, no, well, you see, the way it is that once you figure out that it's not round and there are other endless lands. I go, wait, so what's the difference between endless space and endless land? Endless lands behind the ice wall. Wait, so it's endless lands, dude? Yeah, endless. And they don't want them to be conquered. And I go, endless lands, land for infinity.
How do we know that,
How is that any different than the solar system and the planets and deep space and all that other stuff? It's no, you're calling it something else.
Yeah.
But because you made it up, it makes you feel better about it versus somebody else telling you about it, right?
Are you discrediting Robert Byrd's trip down
Freaking
to Antarctica? I'm probably butchering the name, but yeah, there's
no,
like,
you're talking about Admiral Byrd. I don't know his first name.
yeah,
Admiral Byrd and the whole Hollow Earth, Antarctica sort of thing. Yeah, no, I
I just,
mean,
I just gave him a fake and gay name. My
well,
apologies.
let's find out his first name. Admiral Byrd, Admiral Byrd, Richard E. Byrd. So Dick
Richard.
Byrd.
Yeah, it's always a dick, man.
It's always a dick. That story, is a weird one. The thing is that his journal was published posthumously. So take that for what it's worth. Again, it was published
Yeah.
after he had died.
Gotcha.
Source, trust me, bro, the guy who published it, right? Which I think I forgot who it was that published
Source,
it, but
trust me. Yeah.
source, trust me, bro. It's like, yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, so that's my whole issue, and that's why I'm stepping back from. Again, it's very toxic. I did that one episode on it. It's probably gonna be the last one I ever do on the subject, just because I think it's been debunked, man. It's been debunked, but some people, again, they want to grift or they want to live in that bubble, which is totally fine. If you want to be disconnected from reality
Yeah.
and believe in the penis earth or whatever it is you want to believe, that's fine. Just don't get angry at people who post about an opposite theory
Yeah.
or present an opposite opinion on it. And don't I mean, death threats over that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like it's gotten to that point, dude. Like that's how bad it is. So again, you can live in any reality you want to live in. Just don't get mad when I don't want to participate in that reality. And you can even expand that further to even till this day, the whole woke shit. I'm a ma'am from now on, right? And if you don't like that, then I'm gonna cancel you. That's no different, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to
Oh,
participate in
exactly.
your delusional reality, right? And then here I am getting mad because you don't want to, like, no, damn it, Alex, you gotta call me ma'am, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a sir, I'm a ma'am. From
How
now on,
dare
for the
you
rest of this
call it globe?
podcast, yeah. So again, same thing, but
Yeah.
they'll gaslight you, they'll leave you bad reviews, they'll be all up in your comments, but hey, NASA's the bad guy. And I'm not saying trust the government, not
Yeah.
at all. But sometimes things are what they are, right? And there are a lot more smarter people who have debated this and talked about this even before NASA was even a thing, right? That proved the shape of the earth or whatever it is, that are way smarter than you and I and anybody listening, probably, right? That truly did the calculations and shit, right? So, again, take that for what it's worth. But yeah, I'm pretty done with that whole concept. I think it's an interesting thought experiment. But until further notice, again, I reserve the right to change my mind. If you can prove to me that it is flat, hey, dude, I'll say I'm wrong. I'll eat my shoe.
Really, I mean, the best way to kind of like take a lot of this is just, hey, until I'm proven otherwise, until something's really kind of tipped the scale, really a lot of shit's just up in the air. So why judge anybody really for any of it? But
But again,
yeah.
there's people who that's become their identity. That's become their reality.
Oh
And if
yeah.
you don't want to participate, you're an outsider. You're a bad guy. You're a shill. You're a fed,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
gonna
Well,
attack you for it.
I guess in a way, because like, yeah, you're right. Because if you, I guess, refute it, then it like shatters their whole world. So moving forward, you're kind of like doing more like history type stuff, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna focus more on like historical stuff again. Because again, you can that same it's all about delivery, right?
Yeah.
So if I talk to you about any, I can't prove to you that a homunculus is real. I'm just reading the text and what they say. I can't, right? I can't. But that's for you to like figure out for yourself. I'm not here to push you into any
Yeah.
realm. So
Crazy
I'm gonna
that it has a world record though. It's kind of wild.
bro. I mean, like I said, I don't know what to think of it. But again, what is the government hiding something? Like right now, like the whole thing is disclosure. Like that's the hottest thing right now.
Yeah.
And it's like the that latest video of the egg. Have you seen that,
Yeah, the Reddit egg or whatever. Dude, I can't tell
bro?
what's going on with it. Like,
Supposedly, it's like a rope pulling an egg or dropping an egg off or something, like an egg shaped craft, but it literally looks like a video of like a kid's toy or something, and like an egg wrapped in duct tape. It looks fake, bro. And it's like
yeah.
the government is. I remember, and I saw the shift happen real time, where aliens were a thing, right? Like alien extraterrestrials were a thing. Like, yeah, they're if they're interdimensional, if they're coming from outer space. Like that's the debate, right? Like, oh, aliens or demons or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when the government started jumping on it, like, oh, this disclosure thing, people became again the opposite. Like, if the government is saying one thing, I'm going to go with the, oh, aliens are fake and gay. This whole narrative, this whole disclosure is fake and gay. It probably is. Like it probably is faker than it is gay. But the thing is that again, bro, I'm 30 years old and I remember being in elementary school, probably 8 years old or something, reading about Roswell and reading about, dude, the first conspiracy I ever got into, because I've always been into like the weird, I guess 14 sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The first conspiracy or thing that I ever got into was the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh shit.
Right? Like from the Bermuda Triangle outwards, like from Bermuda Triangle to like Bigfoot, and all these other crazy cryptids. I grew up in Puerto Rico hearing stories about the chupacabra, like family stories of like the chupacabra, like people I knew,
Yeah.
right? In Puerto Rico before it became this gay dog. Like it's not a canine, it was like a reptilian sort of thing.
Hmm.
So I remember as a kid reading about the Bermuda Triangle, like I think it was missing Flight 19 or something like that. Let me see, Bermuda Triangle flight. Yeah, flight 19. I remember reading about flight 19, how it disappeared and like this whole squadron of planes disappeared and thinking to myself as I came, like, is there some portal or something in the Bermuda Triangle? What happened to that plane that day? Or like
Yeah.
what actually happened? Like like this crazy conspiracy. And it's like the government now coming out, and I think Trump even, and if it was true or not, I can't, didn't confirm it, but I saw somebody post about it that Trump is going to be declassifying MK Ultra and all the JFK assassination stuff, and he's like everything will be unveiled or something or other. And
Hmm.
when the government jumps in and talks about aliens, I've believed in aliens as far back as I can remember, because part of the whole Flight 19 was, and part of the Bermuda Triangle was like aliens took them away, right? Or Atlantis, this crystal at the bottom of the middle of the Bermuda Triangle made them disappear, zapped them out of the sky, or some stupid,
Yeah.
some crazy idea like that. I believe you don't have to convince me that aliens are real. If, and again, that's aside if they're interdimensional or not or whatever. Like I believe aliens are a thing, right? I
Hmm.
lean more towards the interdimensional aspect of it,
Yeah.
but I think that I don't need the government to tell me like, hey, they're real. I know. Show me the proof, not some shitty footage of what looks like a rope or something lame with like an egg with duct tape around it. Like, no, I want the real juice. I want like an extraterrestrial gray next to Joe Biden or somebody or Trump, right? Showing us touching it. But I think, dude, even if we were to get that at this point in time, how we are to, 2025, people still wouldn't believe even that.
Yeah.
They'd find something to complain about the validity at this point in history where we are. And the reason with that is because we got, AI coming up with some wild stuff. We have CGI and all these other things, that
Yeah.
are super highly advanced. And on top of that, what capabilities does the government have that we don't have, like regular people don't have, right? So I think even if they were to
Yeah.
do that, it still wouldn't be enough for people. But I don't need the government showing me some shitty foot. Like I want to see the juice, dude. I don't want none of this gay ass disclosure that they're showing us nowadays with this fake. Like I want the real stuff,
The
bro. I
black
want
and
the
white footage that
not
barely
not not
shows like
black
the
and white,
little
dude.
thing. Yeah, it's
I want a live
dude,
stream from the White House lawn of them unveiling this.
the fake and gay button would be smashed at that point by half the internet, and then it probably
100%.
would be politicized depending on who the president was that was
100%.
disclosing it, you know?
It's the mind control, bro. It's
Yeah.
the, the indoctrination of people, and it's like, hey, dude, these people in power don't care about you. The people in power that they're the front men, the president and everybody else, those are front men. And I do think that there is people behind the scenes pulling the strings,
Hmm.
gatekeepers. And the reason I say that, and no, I don't think it's the Jews. I don't think it's any group in particular. Like I don't think of any of that. I think it's a group of people that are pulling the strings. And the reason I say that is because even in real life, and I'm a business owner, I've seen firsthand. myself, with something that has nothing to do with the government, nothing to do with any conspiracy, you see people gatekeeping you real time. People behind the scenes, if you go to get some contract somewhere and somebody likes what you're doing, they're going to go behind your back to figure out how they can get in. Or if you're working somewhere where the supervisor or that guy's supervisor doesn't like you, he's going to do what he can in his power to get you out. And he'll
Yeah.
get you out and put somebody else in, one of his buddies. That's corruption. That's gatekeeping. Or hey, can you give me an opportunity? No, not right
Yeah.
now. When somebody has the full power to give you an opportunity, again, this is coming from like something completely unrelated to any of this shit. I'm talking about real life stuff. So if it happens on a micro scale with me, who's a nobody, imagine on
Yeah.
that scale, right? With the military industrial complex, all these private contractors, all the money that's being thrown around, which money to them is nothing. You're not going to tell me that they're not going to slide a few, but what are lobbyists for, dude?
Exactly. I mean,
The
the
whips of the Senate and all this other stuff. Like, what do they do? They're trying to get their guys in
yeah.
because they have some monetary incentive to go in there. So it's just like WWE, bro, where bro, some people love that shit. Like WWE, I never got into it as a kid.
Same.
Like, oh,
Neither.
this is, they're telling a story with actors with it's a LARPing. And I think that's what government is to me. They're LARPing and they're just doing a show, man. Like, hey, 4 years of this, and then the next 4 years, the same shit. The next 4 years after that, the same thing. Nothing ever changes. Things are still messed up as ever. Uh, you know, some make it more obvious than others, right? Funding other countries and other places.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We don't have a ledger of how Ukraine spent all those billions of dollars. You don't think the big man is getting a cut? Come on, man.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like he
For sure.
pardons almost like all his family at the end, right before he's out. Come on, man. Like whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's all LARPing, and people are still
Yeah.
indoctrinated in that. But again, Trump is some people's gods. By me saying this right now, I said that Trump was going to lose the election. That didn't age well. I got some emails, bro, about that. Like, oh, you're so wrong. I could show you the emails. Like, here,
Yeah.
like I don't read half of them,
After the
dude.
last one, I did not think that he would win this election. I mean, it's
Bro, even the voting stuff, like even the
crazy.
voting system, I can apply for a credit card right now, and I'll get, you can apply for an American Express, a silver card. You can get an unlimited line of credit, right? If you got good credit, right? They'll check your credit, whatever.
Yeah.
You can do that online. They'll just give you the money, right? Here, have it. I went to go open up a bank account one day. They did, and I did like a bundle. I had applied for a credit card and the checking account. They denied my checking account application because they didn't have enough information, but they approved my credit card. And I was on the phone with the guy. I'm like, bro, they just approved the credit card, but not the checking account, which would
Yeah.
essentially be my money, like
Yeah.
nobody else's money.
I need access to the real stuff.
And they didn't approve that, but they approved the credit card. Right. So
Yeah.
with me saying all that, it's like this system that we have of having to go somewhere in person and casting your little vote. Bro, what? Put it on the blockchain where it's, visible to like
Yeah.
get with the times, because that system just opens up more doors for corruption and for errors, in my opinion. Look at all these ballot
100%.
boxes burning away. And that's why I don't think that voting does matter. I think it's again another form of LARPing. I think it's another form
Yeah.
of as long as you do the steps, you get your little sticker.
Yeah.
I voted. I feel like I'm part of the when in reality it's like when, I can give my 2-year-old son, if me and my other son are playing video games or something, I can give him a controller that's not plugged into anything and he believes he's playing with us. He believes he's playing the game with us.
Yeah.
That's the way I see voting.
Yeah.
Waste your time, go to the poll, put in your fake vote, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and it'll make a difference, right? Whatever. Hey, and I could be completely wrong. It probably does make a difference, and I'm just talking shit. I don't believe in it, and I don't participate in it. So whenever something does come through that I don't like, in politics, it is what it is. What am I? What What am I going to do with it? You got to stick with it for 4 years, right? Even at the
100%. Yeah,
you
it's
got to
gonna be a
stick with it for
long
four
4 years
years.
either way for
Like,
somebody.
oh, mate, we'll get them next time. Like my one vote will make a difference next. All right, whatever, dude. Like it is what it is. So I don't believe in any of that stuff, dude. I don't. People are still stuck in the left right paradigm. They're a hamster in the wheel, and it's like I think when people get together and start to realize like, hey, there's a lot more of us than there are of them. And why is there such an imbalance in wealth and all this other stuff? And why are they funding other countries when our country is falling apart and all this other stuff, dude? Like,
How do
I don't
they
even
have a
think.
perfect investment record?
Oh
That
yeah,
type of shit. I
Pelosi's
mean,
got them
yeah,
jugs, bro. I'd
yeah,
motorboat her. I'm not gonna
man,
lie.
in a heartbeat, dude, in a heartbeat.
Oh, AOC too, bro. What's her affiliation? What is she?
I think she's Democrat, right? I
She's
think that
left
comes from.
wing Democratic Party, a member of the Progressive Congressional Bloc, the Squad. She's, I don't like her face that much, but again, I'm not the prettiest guy. Look at this, preceded by Joe Crowley. Interesting. I guess that was the guy before her, right? Preceded by. Yeah, come before you. See, that's how stupid I am. I gotta look up the definition of preceded.
Is that, yeah. Well, she's currently in office, so yeah. I'm kind of the same way, man. I'm constantly having to look up the definition of half the shit I read. Stuff like manly pee-all.
Oh, dude, yeah, I do a show on my Patreon called Dopamine Deep Dives where it's literally just me and usually one of my boys literally just reading and learning as we go. And
Mhm.
sometimes I got to read things 5 times over because it's either that juicy or it didn't make sense or it made so much sense that you just got to read and just kind of simmer on it. Because when it comes to a lot of this occult topics and stuff like that, again, it's a conspiracy, bro. Is it real?
Yeah,
Is it not? Like what are all these mystery schools and what did they do and why did they do it? Why? Like, why are these things happen? Can you control demons? Can you control angels? Right? My favorite arc in history of all time, which I want to make a movie eventually on, like a cinema production or a show or something. So I'm looking for funding. If anybody listening for this,
yeah,
the John D. and Edward Kelly whole debacle, where it's like, bro, that's that saga, that adventure is so wild, man. That you go, was it real? John Dee was, part of Queen Elizabeth's court. He was the court astrologer. And
hmm,
John Dee is known for something that at the time they didn't call it that, but they call it that after the fact. But so this book right here that I got, that thing there, that's the all their records, and it's like thousands of pages of the
damn,
magical journals of John Dee and Edward Kelly. And John Dee essentially was claiming to have contacted angelic beings through the use of this system that later came to be known as Enochian. And the reason why it was known as Enochian was because the last person to know the language, right? The book of, about the book of Enoch,
yeah,
where Enoch, one Enoch, they go and he goes up into heaven or this other dimension and kind of sort of talks to angels, and the angels break down the fabric of reality and how things are created, how humans are created, and all this other stuff. And he talks to the Watchers. And at the end of Enoch, there's Enoch 1, 2, 3. There's a fourth one in there, right? But they come later.
yeah,
At the end of Enoch, Enoch becomes Metatron. He becomes the lesser Yahweh. He becomes this overseer of reality. And essentially, the Watchers are Watchers because they're watching the divine alchemist at work, which is God, right? He's creating and uncreating reality, creating and creating the universe and everything else in between. And at the very end, after he's shown all the secrets from all the angels and everything, he partakes in this, and he's the only human up there. He becomes this angelic entity. And I think that's indicative to me of it sounds eerily similar to the magnum opus of alchemy, where once you achieve the magnum opus of turning base metals into gold, the gold is a byproduct. The gold is something that just happens because the light of the transmutation when this thing happens changes your DNA. And you are then able to step outside of space, time, and reality itself, and you're able to manipulate reality from the outside. And conveniently enough, all the people who have said to have achieved the magnum opus, they've all disappeared. So we can't ask them for sure, what it
Hmm.
means to what is the magnum opus. There's nobody around to ask them because when they achieved it, they pieced out of this reality. Okay, whatever. But to me, it's indicative of like once you learn the secrets, you dissolve out of reality. You become this overwatcher of reality. You're able to manipulate it from the outside, right? And that
Yeah.
essentially is to be God, right? To
Yeah.
control all of reality from the outside, to look at it from a different perspective. That's being God, right? Omnipotent, whatever it is, you're a God.
Yeah.
Or in Metatron's case, he was a lesser Yahweh. He stood next to the throne of Yahweh, right? So he still had some power, some divinity. But John Dino Kelly, the last person to know Enochian, this language of the primordial language, was Enoch. So the last person to know the language was Enoch. And the next people in line to learn that language were John D. and Edward Kelly. Convenient, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, convenient. So essentially, they got this system that was dictated to them through multiple seances, numerous seances, essentially. They were doing seances for 12, 14 hours a day. John
Damn.
Dee's kids would run around as they're doing these seances, and essentially it was scrying. So Edward Kelly would sit in front of this black mirror or a crystal ball and look into it, and then he would talk about what he would see, and John Dee would write everything down. And they developed an entire system that the Golden Dawn, Crowley, and all these guys came to adopt, and it came to be known as Enochian. Now, the problem with Enochian is it's an entire alphabet, an entire magical system in which you're able to converse with these entities on the other side. And the issue with the Enochian is that it's been studied by linguists, and it's an actual language. It's an actual thing where you can construct, you can speak it, you can spell words with it, you can do a whole bunch of things with it. Now, here's where the conspiracies come into play. Edward Kelly was a known con man. He was the crop-eared wizard because of forgery. He was an alchemist as well. He served in the court of Rudolph II at one point as the alchemist, and he was in debt all the time. I believe he had a sick sister who he was always trying to help. So a lot of people go, this guy's track record's not the best. He was looking for employment, right? Some monetary gain. So he completely fabricated everything that is Enochian, the Enochian language, all these other things. And again, there's some correlations between, other guys in the of the time, like Henry Cornelius Agrippa, Trimethius, and all these other occultists of the time, where if you had access to their work, you could kind of emulate that in some sort of way, right? So they're like, oh, he was just reading that work and copying so and so's work. Sure.
Yeah.
The problem is that if he did truly create this system, he was a genius. Like he was a complete genius that was able to recite these letters backwards at times and these crazy graphs and grids and all this stuff backwards, letter by letter. So he had to have had a crazy memory to be able to do that, right? Which the chances of that happening probably not the highest, right? Or again, it was a fabrication of there's three conspiracies, right? John Dee made it up based on his research of other occultists at the time. Edward Kelly made it up because he was a con man and whatever. He just needed something, right? Or they truly did get it from these interdimensional angels that they were talking to, and it was an actual system. And at times, the angels, there was Uriel, Gabriel, Raphael, like there was all these angels. But when you read through and again, I'm condensing this like way, way. When you read through these magical journals, the things that they are seeing are so psychedelic in nature. For example, one of them was like a triangle with like two eyes and like a fiery sword and like just crazy. At one point, the entities start fighting with one another. I think one beheads the other. There was another time where Edward Kelley got beat up by these entities on the other side. Allegedly, again, they beat the shit out of him, in astral form, and his arm like turned red, like poltergeist sort of thing. And at times, even the entities were like, "Hey, listen, we can't tell you these letters because they would quite literally bring forth the apocalypse. Reality would fold in on itself if we were to tell you these letters forward." And essentially, what they revealed to them were these different layers of reality, these aethers, and each one of these aethers had a guardian. So when they were going through like all the letters of the aethers and everything like that, they were like, "Hey, listen, we have to recite these letters backwards." And it was an angel with a stick pointing at the letters one by one, right? And it was a painstaking process, like one letter by one letter by one. And they were like, "Hey, listen, the reason we have to do it like this is because if we mistakenly say these letters in a sort of way, we're going to call forth the guardian of that aether and destroy reality." And it's like, when you're reading this sort of stuff, you go, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild. They're talking to angels and they're giving them the secrets of reality. And where that's what kept them glued to against the black screen, the black mirror. It was literally a black mirror. It was an obsidian mirror, right?
Sure.
It kept them glued there because every single time they were going to pull out, they were reminded of like, hey, every single time was like, hey, we're going to reveal the secrets this next one. We're going to reveal the secrets of reality on the next one, on the next one, and the next one. And you see, bro, day by day, the different journal entries of him documenting. Again, it could all be fake and gay. It could all be fake and gay, 100%. But is it? Can you prove it to me? And again, that's where I get to like, that's the conspiracy. Like, can you prove that John D. and Edward Kelley were frauds?
Have you ever experienced anything like supernatural that kind of like led you down any certain research or?
So I've experimented with what I call mimetic magic, hyper sigil magic, I guess you could say it.
Mhm.
With things like my comic book and things of that nature.
Is that like through artwork?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So
Right on.
I haven't ever talked. I've had very weird synchronicities. As
Mhm.
far as like a supernatural sort of thing, the only supernatural thing that I've talked about before, which I haven't had happen in a long time, was sleep paralysis. But I never saw like any entities or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever really experienced anything like supernatural.
I feel like
But
maybe synchronicities like could be, well, maybe not supernatural, but along the line.
they feel that way,
Maybe.
right? So
Yeah.
the synchronicities that I've had where I've come up with concepts that and the trick is not talking about them. I feel like the more occulted they are, and I've had things happen to me that I haven't talked about, but I've come up with things that I've put into my work that have become a reality. Right? So in a way, and like I'm not going to spill the beans, but things that wouldn't otherwise happen if I hadn't injected it into my work. Things that are so far beyond the realm of like, oh, maybe I'll stumble across that person one day. That would have never happened if I wouldn't have injected it into my work in some sort of way. And it all starts with like an idea. Like there's nothing pointing to, well, there is, don't get me wrong, there's signs of things in my work that allude to certain people, but only if you truly knew. And this is why it's so important to talk about like the occulted scaffolding within works. because you don't know what goes into a work if you're not building it from the inside out.
Yeah.
Right. So I've put things in my works. I can share with you after the stream. I've put things in my works that have manifested things in other aspects of my life that would have never otherwise happened.
Dude, I'd be super interested in hearing that.
Bro, and it's so bizarre. So that's really the only thing that I've experimented with. And that's why, again, how much of the mind affects reality, and to what extent can you affect reality with your mind or your work? And I think that's why it's so, I think that's why the art is so important. Because if you look at the concept of like a meme from an artistic point of view, a cultural point of view, a psychological point of view, the meme, right, which is the smallest form of information, essentially, it is, in my opinion, the modern day meme that people think about when they think of a meme. In my
Hmm.
opinion, and I've done an episode on this before, it's the evolution of the magic square. And the magic square was presented to an emperor one time. I forget, it was like a Chinese emperor or something, on the shell of a turtle. And the magic square goes through a sort of evolution throughout all of history. It first started with numbers, and then they introduced letterism into it, so letters. And then from there, I believe it's evolved into like that square meme that we all see, that we know and love, that is able to portray such significant things with the less amount of real estate as possible. So they can portray this entire message in just a meme that is, 1400 by 1400 or whatever it is, right? Some weird number. And memes go viral, right? Like you can see a meme, it can make you laugh your ass off, or it can make 100% sense.
Yeah.
And it's not that deep. That's powerful, in my opinion. The more information you're able to portray in the least amount of time as possible, that to me is magic, bro. Like if they told you, Alex, they're like, hey, listen, dude, you can take this pill and it's gonna take you 33 years to learn all the knowledge in my library, or you can take this other one, it's only gonna take you 3 seconds or 33 seconds to learn all the knowledge in my library. Which one would you take?
Yeah.
Probably the one with less amount of time, right?
Yeah. That's what most people do.
Because you want to learn more. And this, you can put it towards anything. People want to get paid more money for less time. So if you're able to convey hours and hours of information through 3 lines of text, that's magic, bro. But memes go much deeper than just like, hey, I read it and it made sense. It does
Yeah. There
something
could be like five
psychologically.
references. Yeah.
It like unlocks this thing in your psyche and your subconscious where you're like, oh, that made a whole bunch of other sense, right? Like, and whatever. And ideas are magic too. Like, where do ideas come from and all this other shit? But yeah, that's where I've applied my magic with a K, and I've seen results. I've had more synchronicities than anything, just weird shit
Yeah.
where you can take it for what it's worth or not take it for what it's worth. And I think that even like putting out episodes on a podcast or something like that, even that's art. And I think the more people interact with that and the more people charge that, the more effect it's going to have in your reality, sort of thing. Right. So again, it's all about the art, man, and putting it out and seeing what happens. And sometimes it's weird. It hasn't made me a millionaire yet, though. So we'll see about that.
Yeah. Do you constantly put out comic books or is that just like a one-time thing?
So we've been working on it. So far I have 3 done, of supposed to be 6, but that might change because the latest one that's coming out, it is longer than what they were supposed to be. So now we're incorporating stuff from the fourth and the fifth one in the third because it's longer,
Oh, I got
right?
you.
But
Okay.
comic books are expensive to produce, bro, and
Mhm.
it's not like they're selling like hotcakes, right? Because people aren't really interested in that sort of. People are interested in like more of small bite-sized stuff like the homunculus owner's manual sort of thing, where it's like they're learning more quick. It's 33 pages of like history, straight up history, boom, 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 versus like a comic book that's telling a story that if people aren't invested in, they're not going to really care to read it. So it's not. at the top of my priorities list right now, but yeah, we're still
That's so
cranking
cool
them
though.
out
Yeah,
little by little.
that's cool, man.
Yeah,
Do
people
you?
aren't into physical media anymore, bro.
I'm a musician, so I feel that pretty hard. But honestly, it's another way of like portraying like a large message in a smaller
Hmm.
kind of way of putting that out, similar to not quite in as a compact form as a meme, but definitely interesting.
Yeah,
It's hot.
it's a sigil, right? Because essentially there's a whole infrastructure behind a page, right? And
Hmm.
it's always about what's not happening on the page that usually makes the difference. Because a comic book, you're only seeing snapshots of a timeline, right? So there's things that
Yeah,
happen behind the scenes that you don't get to truly appreciate. Uh, you're just seeing those snapshots of them as you go by. So it's like if you take a video game and you only post like the end of every level or something like that, right? You're not
yeah,
seeing the journey that it took to get to the every single step, and it's like all the stuff you did to like level up your character or some shit, as you're ramping up to that. So
yeah,
it's different, dude. Like I said, it's I'm still pumping them out, but um one of my artists had was on another project that went viral. So we had to like find a new artist and all this stuff.
oh damn,
So good for him because again, now he's doing it for a living essentially, but bad for me because I had to find a new artist and I had to like get a whole new art style and it was just a whole mess. But yeah,
yeah, that
it's fun,
kind of
man.
yeah, it's got to be hard, especially when you kind of got a rhythm going with your vision and stuff, and that's cool that that happened, but
Oh, but he deserves it. He's a good guy.
yeah,
He's a hard worker and he's a humble dude. So I mean, hey, I'm always happy for people's success. I just got the shit end of the stick that time because it's like, oh, now you're gonna be too big to work with us. He still helped us out,
yeah,
but he's got his full-time job now working on comics, which is awesome.
oh
That's
yeah,
everyone's dream to do their craft for a living, right? To do
yeah,
podcasting for a living or to do music for a living or like, do something that they truly love and that they can put their full intention into versus like a regular 9 to 5 where you got to just show up and do this mundane job for usually for other people, hopefully not for other people, maybe for yourself, but it's not the same.
it is a hack in life to get to do what you love, you know.
But it's not impossible though. That's the thing, right? So if you really set your mind to it, like I got friends who podcast for a living, like it's they're low and in between, right? The amount of people who do, but is it 100% impossible? No, like it's
Yeah,
definitely possible. You just got to put the work into to get there.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So how long
So
have you been podcasting?
since 2019. So what is that? 6 years now?
What kind of like made you get into it?
So I didn't find my footing honestly until about episode 80 something. Right. At first it was like having friends on the show, right?
Yeah,
Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I always had a knack for like history and conspiracies and things like that because I see conspiracies as like thought experiments, right? Where
yeah,
it makes you think a little bit further down, like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Again, as a kid, looking at reading about freaking the Bermuda Triangle or aliens or Bigfoot. It's like,
yeah.
is Bigfoot a thing, dude? Like, is
I think
Bigfoot
9/11
act?
happened when we were kids,
Yeah, I
probably.
was in second grade, but I didn't, I
Yeah,
didn't
that was
have a
way too early.
conspiratorial.
Yeah, that was way
Yeah,
too early for
like
that.
I was not anywhere. But I couldn't
Yeah,
imagine being a conspiracy theorist through that or through
yeah.
like the
I think I was in
Y2K or
fifth
like
grade. Yeah,
yeah, like shit
I
like
was
that.
still in it.
I can't imagine how crazy. Well, they didn't really have the internet back then, but can you imagine how wild it was in these different circles? Like, oh, was it? I wonder when it was like. Sorry, that was my kids screaming in the background.
It's
Um,
okay.
I wonder when the concept of like, hey, it's an inside job came to be. Or if people said
Yeah,
that from the get go,
interesting.
like, oh, it was an inside.
Well, I was in the fifth grade when it happened, and then, man, it was crazy because I kind of like you. I was playing guitar in a church growing up, and one of like the dudes like in the band like showed me this documentary called Loose Change. I was like all about it.
And then
like
the missing money, bro.
Pentagon
Oh,
and yeah.
dude. The day before, like, oh man.
How do you, yeah, announcing that the Pentagon gets hit? Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit behind it. But dude, I was young when when my buddy showed me that. We were just like having a sleepover, and he's like, "Dude, you guys gotta watch this video." I forgot even how we watched it, but dude, our minds were blown. I was like in eighth or
No, the
ninth
first
grade.
the first one for me was Zeitgeist. The first Zeitgeist. That one was
Yeah,
like, oh, okay. Um, so Rumsfeld, bro, the guy that like was like, hey, there's money missing the day before, which
yeah,
is crazy. Is that a Mandela effect?
wild,
So
bro. Yeah,
did Rumsfeld uh uh money missing day before 9/11? So Rumsfeld did not reveal. Uh-oh.
ooh,
Here we go. No, the US government didn't mysteriously lose trillions of dollars. Here. Uh-oh. Is that a
ooh, shit,
Mandela effect,
Mandela,
dude?
damn.
The day before the attacks, APA, the long circulating claim misrepresents remarks about 2.3 trillion in accounting entries that officials at the time said were insufficiently documented because of outdated technology. The entries were made during fiscal year 1999 and detailed in early 2000 report. The government, when they found a way to distract people from trillions of dollars, they mysteriously lost on September 10th, 2001. Da da da. But it's not true. The government mysteriously lost. It's not true that the government mysteriously lost trillions the day before 9/11. Instead, the long circulating claim refers to remarks that then Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld gave on September 10,
Yeah,
2001 about Pentagon. So he did.
man,
But Rumsfeld wasn't saying the Department of Defense was missing 2.3. He was using the number to illustrate that the department was having trouble keeping track of its finances because of outdated technology.
mm,
Moreover, while Rumsfeld did reference the figure the day before, it wasn't new information. Oh, okay.
yeah. It's a little
Right.
bit of a word salad
They
to tell
knew
you.
since 2000, bro. It's not
Yeah.
he just
It
happened to
wasn't,
say it.
yeah, it wasn't new information. So I don't know
Okay.
why everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, it's like this is old news. But one of the things
Yeah,
that Rumsfeld has said before, this is one of his quotes. There are known knowns. There are things we know that we know. There are known unknowns. That is to say, there are things we now know we don't know, but there are also unknown unknowns. There are things we do not know we don't know.
damn. Is that bacon?
That's Rumsfeld.
I'm just joking. Sir Francis? No.
Yeah, is that Shakespeare?
Damn, dude.
That's
Yeah.
weird, right?
Yeah, that's a weird ass quote too. Like, why would you say that after the fact? I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I think that
The,
again,
the money's
that's
gone.
so when I started podcasting, I kind of my inspiration honestly was, Rogan
Mhm.
and again, Tinfoil Hat, right? When I first started listening to
Yeah,
them, and
awesome.
then from there you kind of do your own thing. But I don't think I really found my footing until like episode 80 something. But I was talking about conspiracies and stuff before then.
Yeah,
Episode like 4, 5, and 6, 10. Like I was putting out bangers, before I was even, Gnosticism was real big for me. Uh, what else? Yeah, I have a whole bunch of stuff, do like old world, old ancient technology and things like that. Like that's how I started.
yeah.
And then, like I said, I've always loved history and just learning about things. And I
Any
love
specific?
when
Oh
there's
my
like
God.
a fun little fact that you didn't know about that like is like pretty crazy. Like I love all that.
Yeah.
So
I did like that type of shit like sends me down rabbit holes like when you're just like learning or reading about history and like there's something that you like didn't know or something that it's like hey that shouldn't have been there like that's kind of odd. It's kind of send you down all
that's when I
kinds of weird.
started at the end of 2019, and then 2020 popped off and everyone became a podcaster. And then I just been going ever since.
Yeah.
So here I am, researching homunculus and alchemy. And that's mostly what I enjoy, like alchemy and stuff. Um, and just the occult and magic and things like that. Cause that's a conspiracy, bro. Like, is it real? Are
Yeah.
demons real? Like, can you control them? Was Solomon controlling them? Like, what are the secrets? So yeah, that's what kind of does it for me. And uh, I said people enjoy it.
Yeah. What's your favorite time period in history to kind of look into?
definitely the 16th century when like
Really?
alchemy is like popping off. Again, this revival, the Renaissance, like that whole aspect. Cause it's just,
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So it's
it's a
like
lot.
right after the Columbus shit. Um,
Hmm.
Sp Spain was kind of starting to dabble in the Americas. There's a
But
lot of,
like, is that even a thing?
yeah,
Right?
true. Or what? Yeah, I mean that's another thing is like Manly P. Hall I think brings it up a bunch about other people coming here prior to that. Egyptians having ships like unreal for the time period, but
Yeah, that's what Narco Longo talks about. He talks about the America being right the Gulf of America now, I guess. That being
yeah,
the actual Fertile Crescent and not the Fertile Crescent that we're presented with. Because that was one of the things I always thought about, like,
yeah,
you know, the Fertile Crescent were like, oh, that was the dawn of civilization. And I always thought to myself, so while these dudes were doing all this, Mesopotamia and Sumerians and all these other people here, there was absolutely nothing going on in America or like some other place, like on the other side of the world, like nothing at all. It was just these people, and from there they branched out. And I'm not being racist, but I'm just saying, you know, that's it's just weird. Like I maybe there was people over here too. I don't know. They
yeah,
crossed over on the land bridge and blah blah blah. Maybe I'm not a. I wasn't there. Like I can't tell you for a fact if it was true or not. Like all that is a conspiracy, and that's why
yeah,
some people don't trust history like at all, and for good cause. I think that a lot of history, I mentioned earlier gatekeepers and things like that, but even in my research with things that have nothing to do with the bigger picture, and by the bigger picture, I'm talking about like politics or anything else. I've
yeah,
seen books in old libraries where if there's like a talisman or something in the page, it's been scratched out, and sometimes it'll have a footnote like, oh, a church monk or somebody scratched that talisman out because they were afraid of the power that I had. And it's like, think of that and now apply that same thought into something that actually matters, right?
yeah,
Like, hey, the history of XYZ. Well, make sure that the good guys that won, you make them look better than the other barbarians and heathens
yeah,
that lost, right? Like, okay, all right, I got,
yeah,
and they write it out how they're told, right?
yeah.
And like, even dude, even
It's crazy.
think about what you did last week. Like, go day by day of what you did last week. Do you remember it? Now, for those somebody listening, like, I remember everything I did until,
Yeah,
I remember coming out of the womb and the doctors were there. Okay, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like any regular that you probably won't remember what you did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of last week.
no idea
Now
what
write it
war.
down. Write down what you do remember. And then when you do that, the reality of what actually happened is going to be probably different than what you wrote down. You know what I'm saying? So like, I
Yeah,
see history like that. But
yeah,
with that being said, I think that we still need a sort of system to track what has happened with a measurable system, you can refer back to. If it was faking gay or not, we don't know. We weren't there. Oh, they added 1,000 years to our timeline. Okay. What are you going to
what
do
does it
about it,
change
bro?
about today? You know,
Yeah, like
like,
what do you Timmy, what are you gonna do about it?
yeah,
Right? If Anatoly Fomenko's work is right? What are
we're
you
gonna
gonna do
march
about it?
down. We're gonna march down to the ice wall. And we're gonna make them change the
You're
books.
not gonna do shit, right? Like you're not gonna do
Yeah,
you can't go there. The penguins will shoot you down. So again, I like alternative history. I love all the conspiracy shit, but some conspiracies are stupid.
Manly P.
Do I
Hall does a good
think
job of poking holes in like historical figures or,
Yeah, like
um,
was Francis Bacon, William Shakespeare, and all these other guys, like like that's kind of fun. But it's
although
like,
I mean, history could have been written. I mean, it could have been changed, I guess, after he wrote some of this, I suppose. But yeah,
oh,
whatever we're being
100%, dude.
taught, yeah, right now it's
Like if you look at any of Anatoly Fomenko's work, a lot of it makes sense, dude. Like a
Really
lot of
cooking?
it. Oh, he's cooking, bro. That dude's cooking.
Hell
He's on. Yeah, check it out because he goes in like he. What I love about his work is that he's a mathematician, so he lays everything down like a graph sort of form,
yeah. Hmm.
and you can see like, oh, this lines up. This emperor here lines up with this other emperor, and then it goes down, and these two line up too, and then there's a little discrepancy here because not 100%, but then you see where he like line, and you go, I don't know, but again, what difference does it make now?
Yeah,
None. What are you gonna do about it? So that's
exactly.
why I think it's fun to think about a lot of these conspiracies, but
Yeah,
it's an endless uh it's like mental masturbation just like endlessly and you're just
yeah,
chasing your tail. And I think that's part of like the sickness that comes with that. Because if you go around enough times on, the spinning teacup,
yeah,
probably gonna get sick, right?
yeah.
And
That's
you
a good
keep
way to put
going,
it. Yeah.
right?
A
Like
lot of people
I
don't know when to stop, really. So you do a good job of just like making fun
don't
of
listen
some
to me though,
shit.
dude. Do
Yeah,
your own research, read
yeah,
your own things, come up with your own interpretation. Don't rely on. I get shit wrong all the time, all the time. I get things wrong, so
yeah.
don't listen to me. Don't
I'm saying that's why your podcast is good, is because like you do that really well, you know?
I try. I appreciate it, bro. I try my best,
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, bro, it's all about having fun. And if you're not having fun, don't do it. And so, but yeah, sometimes I have had to step back and go, well, what are we doing here? Where does this go? And it's like
yeah,
whatever. But it's a hobby like anything else, and you just got to find the enjoyment in it. And if you don't, you just stop doing it. It's like playing guitar. Sometimes you plateau, like playing guitar. You go, damn, what can I do to get better? And you start mixing other stuff into like the mix.
yeah.
Try this, try that, try different chords, or different whatever. To try and progress it and make it better. And that's the way I see it. So I'm just going
Do you
into the
still play?
deepest. Yeah, I actually just got a new guitar this week. Actually,
Oh
I
shit.
broke out my other guitars from the attic. So I've recently, as of like last week, started practicing again. So
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna be hitting it again, and it's like I wrote to my buddy from high school, and I'm like, damn, dude, I got a new guitar. And I started practicing again. He's like, "Hey, dude, I picked up my guitar. Just like my speed's not what it used to be." And you're trying to remember old songs that you knew or like chords, and you're like, the muscle memory's not there anymore. So I'm like going back through all the stuff that I had already learned and kind of relearning it
Yeah.
over. So, but yeah, so I did recently get a new guitar, and I've been practicing every night
That's
to
badass.
just.
What kind of shit you play?
So I really like jazz. I've been trying to get into like bebop jazz. Um, but to be honest, man, I grew up listening to like The Devil Wears Prada. I grew up listening to like Kill Switch Engage,
Gotcha.
System of a Down,
Uh-huh.
um,
A
As
little
I Lay
emo side.
Dying. Do I?
I said a little emo side.
Yeah, yeah,
Right on.
Alisana. I think it's Alisana, is it? Yeah. What else? Yeah, I grew up, mostly like riff stuff. My first guitar,
Yeah.
which I'm gonna get out of the attic, was a dime bag showdown.
Oh
So,
shit. Yeah.
Pantera. So that's
Shit
what
goes
I that's what
hard.
I learned when I first started, and then it kind of progressed more into like, jazzy sort of. I love like different. I like complex like chord progressions.
Yeah.
So if in the church, right, you're playing for the church, if the other guy was playing an E minor, I'd be playing like an E minor 7 or E minor 9 to add
Yeah.
that
Hitting the
extra
fancy.
flair.
Yeah. Hitting the fancy shit. Really feeling the Lord a little extra on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, dude. And John Mayer. I listened to a ton of John Mayer.
Yeah,
John
he's
Mayer
got
is a
good stuff,
great
man.
guitarist.
Yeah. Hell
He's
yeah, man.
And then I recently got into like Polyphia, and I got Tim Henton's signature guitar. So I got the TOD,
Damn.
the acoustic. It's like a hybrid nylon string. But he's just on another. That dude's not human. But I grew up listening to Buckethead, a lot of
Okay.
Buckethead,
Yeah.
Steve Vai, guys like that. And then I had a side of me that liked like the solo stuff.
Yeah.
And then I have another side that's like I love riffing, right? So that was like my main thing, just like riffs.
Hell yeah.
And
John Mayer does a good job of kind of doing that, especially with the Grateful Dead, like the Dead and Company project. But
nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool.
he's good, bro. One of the techniques I picked up from him that I used for a long time is the fretting with the thumb over the neck.
Oh yeah, okay.
That was something I learned like early on. And then, when I'm watching, a tutorial on YouTube or something of somebody doing a chord, I do it the John Mayer way where you wrap your thumb around the top. And it's
Yeah.
like they're doing it the regular way, but I find it easier now to,
Was there like a gap of time where you just like didn't play at all, or you just
yeah,
kind of
dude.
like really?
Up until so like I've always had my acoustic guitar on the wall, and then every now and again, I'd pick it up and bullshit with it, but it's just like regular chords, never really anything. And now I'm just like getting back into soloing and riffing and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna have fun with it. And like I told my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna start playing guitar again. She's like, I'm like, yeah. She's like, you haven't played in a long time. I had all my stuff in the attic, bro. So like
Yeah.
I brought down all my guitars and everything. And yeah, I've just been practicing, just getting back into the flow of things, doing actual like exercises and stuff. Um, and yeah, just like another hobby, I guess, to pick back up and maybe reignite that passion that I had once
Yeah.
upon a time. Not that I'm gonna really do anything with it now. Back then I did it
Yeah.
for a long time for the church. That's what I started playing guitar, and then while I was in high school, and then that's when I started doing it for the church. Because you know how the church is like they're always looking for people to work for free, essentially, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so their guitarist had taught me, and then it got to the point where I was better than him, and he was learning from me because he was like an old head,
Yeah.
You're doing like just regular like one string solos or lead guitar, whatever it is, and then
Yeah.
when he would see me like, hey, what chord is that? And it's like, oh well, I don't know what chord it is, but it sounds good. You sometimes you start listening to different groups that and usually they're in like drop C or something, right? And they're just like playing all these other, so it doesn't really translate to a chord. It's probably like a variation of a chord. And so he'd see me, he's like, how are you doing that? I'd show him how to do it. But yeah, I played Hillsong. I played a whole bunch of stuff too,
Yeah.
bro.
It's
What
kind of
kind of
cool.
style do you like to play? I saw you like play acoustic or something like that.
Yeah, I do like just kind of songwriter shit. I like writing. It's like my favorite part about
You
it.
sing
But
too?
yeah, I sing.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
But
I tried singing, but I never went anywhere with it. I can't. My issue is like holding that key,
yeah,
like the like and when you look at guys like John Mayer who are playing songs like even though Neon doesn't sound like a hard song, when you see how it's played,
yeah,
you go, "Oh, he's playing that and he's singing at the same time."
yeah.
Holy shit. Like that's crazy. And then singing well.
Yeah,
Like
he's got a cool voice and interesting, and it took me forever to kind of pick that up. I sucked for a long, and singing never came naturally. I was just mainly interested in the guitar stuff, but honestly, like through like time and like growing as like an individual, I mainly love the writing. I don't even care about like performing or anything. I don't know. I think it's like you say with the meme thing, it's fun to like kind of figure out that puzzle to convey a message to like a 3 minute song and everything in between that.
well, music especially because music, I think music there's a reason why Plato and the Republic wanted to ban certain frequencies and certain stringed instruments because right they believe that music spoke to the soul in a
Hmm.
deeper sense. And I think that's why it's so important during worship because like I've told people before, it's like I don't know what I was and this is a bad way of putting it, but when the Holy Spirit is in the house, like it, right? When you're deep into some sermon, like whatever it is, or at the end of the when they do the call, well, in my church they would do callings, right, for people to accept Christ into their life and all that.
Hmm.
And it's like when there's something in the house, like I don't know if we conjured it there or like what it is, but there's like this thing in the air that you can cut with a knife, and it's a it's a presence, I guess you could call it, or some it's something that's there. Again, they say it's the Holy Spirit. It could be Cthulhu for all we know that we just summoned or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and we're just
Yeah.
calling it the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit. But definitely it brings forth like, and it's not always, right? It's not always that the songs slap, but
Yeah.
when they do, it's crazy, bro. Like I've experienced that, and
Yeah.
I tell people like, oh, is that the supernatural? I think that's the supernatural. But again, it came forth from playing the right chord progression or melody or whatever it is, right? I think there's definitely something there. What is it? I don't know. I was told it was the Holy Spirit, but yeah, I'll sure we can call it that. You know?
Yeah. The one that I played in growing up, I went to it one time when I moved back to Texas, and they were just beating in your head the tithe and shit. I was like, in a very like angry way too. I was like, this is like not the right way to go about it, but
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
business
who knows?
now.
Yeah.
It's a business. It's a great business, and it's a religion now, in my opinion, is a brokered experience where you have to go through them to Jesus told the disciples to pray in closets.
Yeah.
Go into a closet and pray in there. You don't have to do it in these congregations and stuff like that. And I know of churches today, like even local churches, where the pastor's not even there. You sit down and you watch him on a screen while he's at another one of his churches somewhere else. It's like, what? Like, oh, it's about the community. Sure. Like, whatever, dude. Why can't I just sit at home and watch him on my screen at home?
Yeah.
You know? But I mean, again, I don't bash people for their religion. I'm not here to prove or disprove anything. And I think that religion is important because it gives people structure, it gives people meaning, and some people need that help
Yeah.
to find meaning and purpose in their life. And if religion does it for you, the Bible is a very simple, well, not simple book, but essentially, if we break it down, the Ten Commandments are very simple. The Ten Commandments say, "Don't be a piece of shit," right?
Yeah.
Like that's all it says. And
Yeah.
but again,
One commandment, don't be a piece of shit. I kind of
yeah,
like that.
yeah, you could have summarized that a couple. Is
That
it?
should we should do a gold tablet inscription and leave it behind somewhere that just says one of them, just don't be a piece of shit in like
Yeah, like
year
love your
2025.
neighbor. Don't murder people.
Yeah.
Love your don't lust over your neighbor's wife. Like, yeah, don't fuck your
Yeah.
neighbor's wife. And it's like, yeah, damn, he's got a point, man. We got to stop doing that. It's like, oh, it
Shit.
didn't make sense till just now. Who gave you
Yeah.
this? God. Oh, okay. It's
Damn.
like,
So that means it's pretty deep.
it's pretty simple to be a decent human being, and I think
Yeah.
that some people are, again, incapable of that even till this day. Obviously, till this day, because everything is magnified under this magnifying glass of what the media and social media and all these things are. So we see a lot worse of human nature, in my opinion. Even if you go on like X or whatever, I had to censor certain words and mute certain words so I wouldn't keep seeing videos of people dying.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
like
That
watching
shit's
somebody
crazy.
die, even if it's on a video, real time,
Yeah.
over and over again, that can't be good.
No.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Some people
you,
could become addicted to that, watching people die and shit. It's
well, dude, growing up, right, in the early 2000s with like gore.com and like,
yeah.
what was the other ones? There was a
Some
whole bunch
crazy
of other
shit.
ones,
Yeah.
right? Like, the BME Pain Olympics or whatever that video was, Two Girls, One Cup,
Yeah.
like all this shit, bro. Like, we were on the wild, wild west of the internet,
Yeah.
seeing some heinous, heinous things. And it's like, yeah, dude. So I had to literally mute some words on Twitter because it was just, I don't want to see that stuff. I don't like seeing that stuff when, you know, I never did like seeing that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, Twitter, I mean, honestly, it's like probably one of the craziest when it comes to like those algorithms of showing you like the violence. One thing I heard get brought up was the Papa Bawa
I had this guy on
butchered. Yeah.
talking about like elementals and stuff like that, and he brought up. I had never heard about it until he had brought it up and kind of looked into it, and it was like this supernatural shapeshifter that likes to sexually assault people. and then it tells you to not say anything about it. Yeah, I came to the conclusion that this might have not been supernatural. It was, people preying on people who believed in supernatural stuff and using that supernatural aspect of, them not recognizing what they were seeing at the time for whatever reason and kind of running with that. So, yeah, and again, that's the superstitious aspect of human nature. Again, that other thing of maybe something other than another human or what, there's always has to be like some sort of supernatural answer to something
Yeah.
because you don't understand it and grasp it, right? So again,
The
that's
pyramid,
another.
yeah, the pyramids are like one that just nobody can explain. They're just,
Or some people actually did build them, bro.
yeah,
Why not? Like,
yeah,
why couldn't the people achieve it? Now the timeline in which they say that's up for
insane.
debate.
Yeah,
Isn't Yeah, is 20, 30 years, and then when you look at these cathedrals, they're built in like hundreds of years.
yeah,
Maybe you got the timeline wrong, right? And maybe it took them a couple hundred years to build the pyramids, and you just got to shift the timeline a little bit. I'll take that. But
yeah,
I think that with enough human ingenuity and enough people together, I think that they could. I think people could have built the pyramids, bro. Maybe
yeah.
not in 30 years or 20 years, how they said, but maybe
Somebody,
in,
yeah, somebody figured it out.
yeah, 100%, dude.
Um,
You know? But again, people want to find a conspiracy and everything. Like we have the final product, which is the pyramid. Now the conspiracy is, oh, what was it built for? How was it built?
oh yeah,
When
that's
was it built?
true.
You get me? Like we have
Yeah,
the final product. Somebody did that. Some, I wouldn't say something. I don't think that aliens built the pyramids. But hey, dude, when you're sitting around, put yourself in the shoes of these people. You're sitting around. You don't have social media. You don't have computers. You don't have anything else. You just work. You live and you work.
yeah.
You don't think they could have figured it out? To like, you ever seen stonemasons carving uh a stone with their precise movement where they put that chisel to get that exact angle chipped off of that side of that? I think they could have done it, 100%. You know,
Yeah. I mean, definitely would have been extremely hard. I think the mainstream narrative or whatever, whoever like writes that type of history of like who built it and how long, I think they do like kind of a terrible job of explaining it, which
kind of.
doesn't really help. It's the one thing that's like doesn't help shit, and it just like allows like this huge opening of people to like swoop in with their answer, I guess.
And interpret it any which way they see fit. And again, some people convince themselves that's how it is, and that's how it is, and you can't make them think otherwise. And that's fine, right?
Yeah.
As long as they don't overstep their boundaries and try to force that same thinking on you. Hey, believe in whatever you want to believe in, dude. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in, what not to believe in. I'm just gonna have fun researching these topics and
Yeah. Have any other communities come after you?
no, just the only toxic one, which is the flat
Yeah.
earthers. That the homunculus community definitely hasn't
Yeah,
come
they're not
after me. Anything
coming.
else?
Just like a bunch of little people like charging up a hill.
Or the alchemical yeah, no, it's just
Yeah.
just that. And again, that's just what makes it more sus to me. Like, bro, why are you so hell bent on making me believe what you believe? Yeah, one of my favorite quotes, there's not enough evidence for somebody who believes. So you're not ever gonna convince them. We're not doing it. It's an endless mental masturbation over and over and over again. That's
I
it.
will say NASA fakes a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They don't have the healthiest track record. So whenever they are able to claim something or other, they will. But again, and I'm with you, dude. The moon landing and all that stuff. Do I think we went to the moon? No. Do I think we faked the moon landing to have again some political uh statement like, oh hey, we did it, not you, sort of thing, given the times and all that? I think that they could have faked it, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
if the evidence leans more towards one side, make of that what you will.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I always tell people, do your own research, come up with your own conclusions, and don't just listen to some talking heads. Like if it's
Yeah.
that important to you, go out there and prove it, you know?
look into some shit.
Look into it, yeah.
It's not that hard, but a lot of people they will just take whatever opinion is given to them off of the TV or off of whatever news source, especially from that same time period in the moon landing. Like when you're only getting like one form of like media, or only, at the time it was like maybe only a couple, like newspapers, radio, and a little bit of TV.
Hmm.
It's got to be pretty easy to convince people of some shit when you control all of that.
Well, you got to understand that a majority of the population, probably, uh, at least, how do I say it? We're the minority when it comes to this train of thought. A majority of the population probably believes in a lot of the stuff that we talked about,
Yeah,
you know, that we believe the opposite or whatever it is, they believe in it, right? And I'd be interested to see a survey as to how many people believe that we actually went to the moon versus when we didn't. And maybe the older generation believes it, and the newer generation that has been exposed to Rogan and all these other talking heads probably don't believe it, right?
yeah,
But again, it's outside influence, outside stimuli that's stimulating their ideas. Like, oh, maybe we didn't go. They have no way of proving it otherwise, but still, they're like, oh, well, Joe Rogan said one time that we didn't, so therefore we probably didn't, you know. So again, I wasn't there,
yeah.
and I can't tell you if it's real or not. But I'm here to keep researching, man, and have
Yeah.
fun.
What are your kind of like methods like in looking into a topic? Are there like certain sites or books that you kind of or authors I'd say, or is it just kind of random?
I always try with any topic. I always do like a baseline Wikipedia article type of thing, and then try and go to the source material as far down as you can. You start running into issues when it comes to things that have been translated.
Yeah,
Um, where if you can't translate it or don't know how or whatever, then you're stuck with whatever translations there are of that work. But there's no like specific author or anything like that. I look up a subject and then just start peeling it apart with references and as far down as you can go with like the original material and try to get your hands because like Wikipedia and all these sites, what they'll do is they give you like the layman term stuff, like the
hmm,
superficial stuff, and then the source material usually goes into much more detail, and Wikipedia leaves a lot of stuff out. So yeah, just find the superficial stuff and get recognized with that, and then you can piece together a timeline or whatever it is later on when you dig deeper into the source material. So try and find as much source material as you can, and then pretty much go from there. And that's a rabbit hole in and of itself, bro. Like you can find out some crazy stuff that you won't find on like Wikipedia usually doesn't have the cool shit. It's usually the source material that does.
yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Thank you for inviting me.